And I'm going to share my screen. Oh, here we go. Okay, awesome. Okay, so today we'll be talking about Albert Bandura's social learning theory. My name is Ashley Lozano.
My name is Allie McPherson.
So Albert Bandura is a Canadian-American psychologist who is a professor of social science in psychology at Stanford University. He's actually still pretty healthy and alive. He's 94 years old, which is pretty cool. He's also known for his social learning theory, which is different from other learning theorists who look at learning as a direct result of conditioning, reinforcement, and punishment, because he believes that most human behavior is learned through observation, imitation, and modeling.
So he has three core concepts, one being that people can learn through observation, two, mental states are important to learning, and three, learning does not necessarily lead to behavior change.
And so the social learning theory by Albert Bandura, which determines human behavior, it pretty much is made up of three key factors, which is cognitive personal factors, which includes knowledge, expectation, and attitudes, behavioral factors, which include skills, practice, and self-efficiency, and environmental factors, which include social norms, access in community, and influence on others.
So going back to his core concepts, one was people can learn through observation. An example of this would be the Bobo experiment, which is where they put children all in a room together, so where they could see an adult and how they were reacting to being in a room with this doll, and if they were acting aggressively towards it or being nice to it, that determined how the kids acted towards the doll. And so they were modeling how they were going to behave towards the doll, and the children were mimicking that or copying them. Two is mental states are important to learning. So it's important to think about what your motivation is for learning. Are you learning just for the sake of learning? Or are you learning just because you have to know this to pass a certain test or just to get through this semester? Because if you learn like that, you're more likely to forget what you're learning and not really grasp the information. And three, learning does not always lead to change. So if you are learning to ride a bike, you know you have learned to ride a bike when you ride the bike without falling. But that's not always the case according to this theory. Like if you learn something, it doesn't necessarily mean you're going to change something. You could just learn it and stay the same.
So the key factors for success is attention, which is if the model is interesting or there's a novel aspect of the situation, you're more likely to dedicate your full attention to learning. Retention, which is the ability to pull up information later and act on it, is vital to observational learning. Motor reproduction, which is performing the behavior you observed, and motivation, which means you have to be motivated to imitate the behavior that is modeled. So, the three implications of social learning on a teacher and student learning is positive behavior, self-efficacy, and the motivation to learn. And self-efficacy, according to Albert Bandura, is the personal judgment of how well one can execute courses of action required to deal with prospective situations. This is important because we have also learned about different factors of success, just like this theory talks about, but it's in the foundation for young adult success. And so I think that the one that relates the most to this theory from the readings is agency, which is comprised of four things: intentionality, forethought, self-reactiveness, and self-reflectiveness. Now, the one that stands out to me the most is self-reactiveness because it's talking about the same thing with self-efficacy, which is the self-regulation skills and knowledge to carry out a course of action. Um, and it has to do with oneself, which is one of the three core concepts of the social learning theory. And self-reflectiveness is the individuals are able to reflect on their own personal efficacy. And so, yeah, so the social learning theory, which is Albert Bandura's theory, has to do with three main points, which is behavior, environmental factors, and personal factors that affect learning in people. And these are our references. Oh, there we go.